You're calling People versus James and Jennifer Crumbly, docket numbers 21006-651 and 21006-652. Can I have appearances on the record, starting with the prosecutor?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Karen McDonald on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Mark. Keith, on behalf of people.
Good afternoon, Shannon Smith on behalf of Jennifer Crumbly.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Marielle Lehman on behalf of James Crumbly.
And are we ready to proceed with preliminary examination?
I am, Your Honor. The prosecutor calls Amanda Holland.
Please raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear any testimony you're going to give under the penalty of perjury? You may ask me to scoot up a little bit closer to the microphone. Please keep your voice up. Verbalize all responses to all questions. And if you are comfortable, you can take your mask off while present. Okay? You have the plexiglass around on both sides, so it's totally up to you. All right, I'm going to ask you to state and spell both your first and last name for the court reporter.
Amanda, A-M-A-N-D-A, Holland, H-O-L-L-A.
I'm sorry, H-O-L-L.
A-N-D.
Thank you.
Amanda, just if you try to match the volume of my voice, then you should be fine so everybody can hear you. You're employed at a real estate management company?
Yes.
And what is your position there?
Administrative assistant.
Okay, and who are you an assistant to? One person or more than one person?
One person.
And who's that?
Andrew Smith.
Okay, and where is your, do you have an office or a desk?
A desk.
Is it cubicle or just?
I would say a cubicle.
Okay. And do you know Jennifer Crumbly?
Yes.
Do you know James Crumbly?
No.
And do you see Jennifer Crumbly in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Can you describe something she's wearing to the court?
A striped top.
Okay. May the record reflect that she's properly identified Jennifer Crumbly.
No objection.
So noted.
How close in proximity is your workstation was your workstation to Jennifer's?
Very close, across the hall.
All right, and was she in an office or a cubicle?
An office.
Okay. And were you and Jennifer, and are you and Jennifer friends?
No.
Okay, how would you describe your relationship?
Coworkers, friendly coworkers.
Did you ever socialize with her outside the office?
No.
And did you have opportunities to interact with her on a daily basis?
At work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And you share personal details about your lives together?
On
To
occasion.
each other?
Yes.
Okay. Who did more of the sharing, you or Jennifer?
Jen.
Okay. And did she share with you any personal problems that she was having?
Yeah.
Okay, can you give me an example of something? You have to speak up really loud, or take your mask off so we can see, but you can keep the mask on, just so we can hear you.
Marital issues.
Okay, and did you know who her husband was? Did she talk about him by name?
Yes.
And who was that?
James.
Okay, and when did that come up?
Occasionally.
Approximately what year, what month?
2021. She spoke of him occasionally, just, throughout the time I've known her, but more in detail over 2021.
Okay, and is this something that she would talk to you about because she was upset or in passing?
Both.
All right, and what, aside from things that she said to you, were there any other signs that there was a dispute or conflict between James and Jennifer?
Outside of her talking to me about it,
Yes.
there would be loud phone calls occasionally, but that was about it.
I'm sorry, what?
Loud phone calls occasionally, but other than that, no.
Loud phone calls that she would keep the door open?
Sometimes. Usually it would be shut or almost shut, but you could still hear through the door.
You could still hear the conversation behind a closed door?
Yes.
Okay. What, you said they were having marital issues. What exactly did she tell you?
That both her and James had been seeing other people outside of their marriage.
And was that something she was happy about?
Not at first, but then it didn't seem like it was an issue.
Okay, did she tell you that they were still together?
They had separated for a moment, but then it sounded like they had gotten back together.
And when they separated, do you remember when, about a month or year that was?
It was 2021, but I don't recall the exact month.
Did they separate households?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. And was there any other indicator to you that there were other relationships going on than just with her husband?
Yes.
What was that?
She had spoken about it to me. There was someone that she had.
Your Honor, I would object as to relevance at this time.
Response to relevancy.
Yes, Your Honor. The defendants owed a duty to the community to prevent their son, who they had every reason to believe and saw was a danger. What they did and didn't do, what they spent their time doing, what they exposed their son to is absolutely material and probative under 401 and pursuant to People versus Mills.
Your Honor, there is no duty owed to community members from just every person in public. So I don't believe that's a proper response, but more importantly, there is no duty owed to a community that the prosecutor argues exists.
In terms of the question itself, whether or not there was some type of extramarital relationship with the parties and a duty owed to the community, I don't know that that is intertwined. However, as far as the relevancy goes to the ultimate issue of this particular case, I'm overruling the objection. You can go ahead and answer the question.
Thank you.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, just one moment. Your Honor, I do just want to, to make a good record, the duty owed here is to protect the community from their son intentionally harming somebody when they knew he was preoccupied with violent material, that he had access to a gun, he could use it when he wanted to, and he was disturbed. It's a parental duty. It goes far beyond careless. It's gross negligence, and there's absolutely a duty. And I didn't get a chance to tie that together, but I'll move on. What was the indicator to you that there was another relationship going on outside Jennifer Crumbly's marriage?
She spoke to me about it.
Okay. Did you notice anything prior to that?
I didn't notice anything, no.
Okay. What did she say?
She had told me that she had been seeing somebody else.
And did she tell you who that person was?
No.
And did she tell you when she saw that person?
After the fact, one time she did.
Okay, tell me about that.
There was a point where, I had noticed that she wasn't there in the morning, and she had mentioned that she had seen a man, in the morning before, during work hours.
What do you mean you noticed she wasn't there? Was it before she was supposed to come into work?
I typically got in after her. I would notice that she had been there, her light was on and everything, but she was not there. And it would be about an hour until I would see her afterward.
Did you ask her about that, or did she just?
I didn't ask, but she had mentioned, errands at first, and then, she had mentioned about a week after that, she was seeing somebody else.
And where would she, did she say where she would go during those hours?
She said that this person would pick her up, and they would go across the street from our office.
To where?
Costco?
And did she say what they were doing?
Not directly, no.
Okay. And what did Jennifer say about, well, first of all, did she talk about her son very often?
No, not very often.
What did she talk about, other than her marital issues?
A lot of it was about the horses. She liked to go there a lot after work, or she would say that she would go there a lot after work. She talked about, she had purchased a new horse this past year. And then a lot of yard work, a lot of housework.
Okay.
I'm sorry, so I didn't catch that last part. She what?
She would talk about a lot of yard work and housework she was doing.
Yard work and housework?
Did she say whether or not her son was aware of these marital issues?
Not directly, no. He would overhear fights occasionally, but I don't know if we've heard anything else.
Okay. Do you follow Jennifer Crumbly on social media?
We're friends on Facebook, yes.
Okay. And did you ever see a post about their son and how they bought their son's gun for Christmas, early Christmas present?
I didn't see the post initially, no.
Okay. So you didn't see it prior to November 30th?
No, I saw it on November 30th, but not prior.
Did she ever talk to you about guns?
No.
Okay. Do you have a suspicion about why she didn't mention that, if she's mentioning a lot of other things?
Your Honor, I would object to speculation.
I'll read this. Do you know why?
No.
Okay. You did at some point get an opportunity to look at the post?
Yes.
Okay, and when was that?
The day, on November 30th.
Okay, so let's go to November 29th, the day before this terrible event occurred. Did you see Jennifer on November 29th?
Yes.
And was there anything unusual that occurred that day?
She mentioned that she got a message from the school, but she didn't go or do anything, I don't think.
Okay. Did she say what the message was?
No.
Did she seem concerned in any way?
No.
How would you describe her demeanor?
Normal, calm.
Okay. Did she say what she was going to do with regard to that message, or what she was going to do after work at all?
No.
Okay. And did she mention anything about what her son was doing recently around that time?
No.
Okay. Did Jennifer Crumbly ever talk to you about how she described her son?
She would say he's quiet. She didn't go into much detail. I think I would gather that he's quiet.
Did she ever mention to you that he was having a difficult time?
Only when his friends had gone away. That was the only time I heard that there may be some trouble.
Okay, and did she say specifically what concerned her about his friend going away?
She was concerned he would be lonely, that it was his only main friend, maybe only friend, I could tell. She was just concerned that he would be alone. Not having him.
Okay, and particularly did she say when she was concerned that he would be alone?
No, not particular.
Okay, how often did Jennifer and James Crumbly go to the barn?
Often, I would say maybe almost every day.
Your Honor, Objection is the foundation for this witness's knowledge about that.
Did Jennifer talk to you about, I'll do mine.
And, go ahead.
Did Jennifer talk to you about, going to the barn?
Yeah.
How often did she talk to you about going to the barn?
Almost daily.
All right, so was that in the context of she's just bringing it up, or she's talking about her plans after work?
Both.
Okay,
A lot of the times her plans after work, she would leave a little earlier than I would, and she would usually say she was going to the bar.
okay. And you spoke to her, Dave?
Yes,
Okay, so about how often did she go to the barn?
almost daily,
Okay, and did Ethan go with her?
not to my knowledge.
Did she ever express a concern about her son not going with her?
No.
Okay. The next day, November 30th, do you remember that day?
Yes.
Okay, what's the first time that you talked to Jennifer in the number?
In the morning, I went in, I popped in, made coffee, and on my way back to my desk, I stopped and said, good morning, where we talked briefly.
Is that something that you would ordinarily do?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, did you become aware of a call about her son?
Yes.
And how did you become aware?
She took a phone call and I could hear it.
You could hear, I'm sorry, what?
I could hear her phone call.
Okay, and do you know who she was talking to?
James,
Okay, and what was the subject of the call? What were they talking about?
he had called her, or no, I'm sorry, I apologize, I think I mixed up the call. This was later in the day. The first call was from, the school.
Okay,
That there was an issue at the school. That's all I could gather from the call.
okay, what did she do after that?
She called James.
And what did she tell James?
She was asking him if he was able to come to the school.
Okay,
Check on this situation.
did she say how she felt about going to the school?
No,
Okay, did she say whether she wanted to go or didn't want to go?
no,
Okay. Was she trying to ask James to go instead of her, or they were to come too?
it sounded like she wanted James to go. And then there was another call after that one, and that's when she decided to go as well.
Do you know what changed her mind?
No,
Okay. And at some point, did she leave?
yes,
Okay. And did she come back to work that day?
yes.
All right. When she came back to work, what did she tell you?
She came over to my desk. She showed me, she said, that she felt like a failure as a parent, and she showed me a photo of, what Ethan had drawn at school.
Okay, and that was previously admitted. Do you need to see it to describe it, or do you remember the photo?
I remember the photo.
Okay, how would you describe the writings on the worksheet?
Disturbing.
Okay, and what was your response?
I told her I thought that was scary.
I'm sorry, you said what?
I told her I thought it was scary.
Okay,
You would draw that.
and what was her response?
She agreed.
Okay. Did she talk to you at all about what the meeting was about, or what the school wanted her to do?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said that, that they were concerned with his drawing, that they were concerned that he may be feeling badly at school and that something could happen. She said that they were requiring him to engage in counseling and that he needed to do that quickly. That's the extent.
Did you
I'm
talk
sorry, I didn't hear your last part.
That was it. That was all.
Okay. What was her demeanor when she was talking to you about this?
My initial thought was, it seemed a little sarcastic, the way that she said that she felt like a failure. As she was talking, it was a little concerned.
Okay, did you have a conversation at some point about whether or not she should go and get her son from school?
I felt I would have brought him home.
Okay, wait, so
I
hold
thought-
up. Did you have a conversation about that?
Yeah.
Tell me, what did you say?
I said, it would be nice for her to take him for a day to, go see a movie or go have lunch or do something with him.
On that day?
Yes, on that day. The day that I said she should have brought him home.
And why did you say that?
I felt it was a disturbing photo and I thought the child needed to be around would have done, and I told her I thought that's what she should have done.
Okay, what was her response?
She told me that she thought she would just take him to the barn that night and, give him some work and give him a little something to do after school.
And what did you say to that?
I said, if, I think it would be good to have some time with you, just, make him feel seen.
Had you ever been told that he didn't want to go to the barn?
She had mentioned that he didn't like going, but she thought it would be good for him.
And
that day.
what did you say?
I just listened. I don't think I said much after that.
All right. At some point, what happened? What was the next thing you can remember on that day?
After that conversation, she went back to her office. I went back to work at my desk. And a little while after, I don't remember all the time, she had received a call, and I believe it was from James, that he got an alert from the school about an active shooter. And she started to panic in her office. And I think we all did during the call. And that's when she left and ran out quickly.
Okay. Did you said that at one point she told you that she and James separated, but didn't really move out. And then you said at some point they got back together. Do you know when that was?
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Josh. You have to say yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know when that was, or how do you know that?
She had mentioned that they were having the issues. They decided to separate, temporarily it seemed. And then around their anniversary, she came back from a trip with him, and she said that they were going to work on it.
And when was that? When was that? In the fall?
I don't recall.
Okay. And where was the trip?
I don't know the exact location. I know it was a casino, but I don't know which one.
All right. Did she tell you whether or not they took their son along for the weekend to the casino?
No.
No, she didn't tell you, or no, they didn't take him?
No, she didn't tell me.
Okay. Do you know if they took him?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you ever hear Jennifer talk to you or say in passing that she was taking Ethan to the doctor,
No.
to the therapist?
No.
Did she ever talk to you about the horses needing medical treatment?
Yes.
What would she say?
There was some, I don't remember exactly what was wrong with them, but she had mentioned that there was something going on.
Did that happen once, more than once?
More than once.
One moment. Right. Nothing further.
Because somebody have a general comment.
Thank you. Hello. I want to go back through some of your testimony and just make sure that I've understood it correctly. So if I say something wrong, can you please let me know?
Yeah.
You were the administrative assistant to Andy Smith, is that correct?
Yeah.
So you worked in the same office Jennifer Crumbly worked out of?
Yeah, the same company. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the same
company.
the
Yeah.
same company, and your desk was nearby Miss Crumbly's office.
Yeah.
And you and Miss Crumbly, you would not say you were friends with one another, correct?
Yeah.
But you talked about little things back and forth when you would see each other.
Yeah.
Always friendly conversation.
Yeah.
And I imagine over time you talked about a number of different topics, correct?
Yes.
So when you're talking about the topics today, being their marriage and separating and things like that, it's fair to say there were topics discussed, lots of other topics that have not been pinpointed today, correct?
Yes.
There were discussions about camping trips the family took.
Yes.
Conversations about James's mother dying.
Yes, I do.
Conversations about meals Jennifer was cooking.
No.
Conversations about food pictures that were up on Facebook.
I saw one photo.
I guess my point is, there were conversations about lots of different topics. It was not like only about Jennifer's marriage did you two speak, correct?
Correct.
And in terms of Jennifer's marriage and what you were told, it's fair to say that Jennifer didn't sit down with you and give you a play-by-play on everything that was happening within her marriage, correct?
Correct.
It's more like you would catch bits of it here and there, correct?
She went into detail about certain issues.
So there's conversations you had where she went into detail, but it's also say there were other times where you would hear her on the phone with James.
Yes,
It's fair to say that other people in the office may have been talking about Jennifer and James.
no,
It's fair to say that although Jennifer did tell you things, this was not like a daily event where you sat down and discussed every intricacy of her marriage, correct?
correct.
So there was certainly a time where Jennifer and James, your understanding was that they were going to get separated or separated.
Yes,
And there was discussion about Jennifer possibly seeing somebody else at that time.
yes,
You don't know all the details about seeing someone else.
no, not all.
And the most you knew is that during work hours, Jennifer would not be at her desk, correct?
That's not all I knew, but yes, I did know that.
You testified that you would notice her light would be on as if she had been at her desk and then she would be gone from the building, is that correct?
Yes.
And that you were told by Jennifer she was running errands at some point in time?
Yes,
And specifically, you were told at some point that she had gone to Costco with another person?
yes,
And anytime that you were aware of her being gone, these times that you're talking about, those were all within the workday, is that correct?
yes,
So you testified that there was a day that Jennifer got a message from the school, is that correct?
yes.
And that message from the school was a voicemail?
I don't know.
Did you hear the message?
No,
Do you know anything about what the message said?
no,
Did Jennifer tell you the contents of the message?
no,
Did Jennifer tell you how she felt about the message?
no.
Do you know anything about the message?
I just know it came from the school.
So you don't know the contents of the message?
No,
So you would have no ability to evaluate how Jennifer was reacting in conjunction with that message, correct?
the message on the 29th?
Yes.
No, I don't know.
Okay. So when you testified that Jennifer did not seem concerned, it's fair to say you don't even know what the message on the 29th was about, correct?
Correct.
And Jennifer expressed to you that a message had been left by the school?
Yes,
And it's fair to say that Jennifer had never told you that at any time before, correct?
like before that day?
Yeah.
No, that was the first message I knew about from the school, from the 29th.
Okay, so when she got the message from the 29th and mentioned it to you, that was certainly out of the ordinary, correct?
Yes,
And Jennifer telling you about it appeared she cared that she had gotten the message from the school.
I don't.
Your understanding of Ethan was that he was a quieter kid, is that correct?
Yes,
And that he had a friend who had moved away suddenly, so he was lonely.
yes,
You were aware that were you aware that he had a difficult time when his grandmother died?
no,
Were you aware of Ethan's extracurricular activities?
no,
Were you aware when Ethan was going to become a referee for the soccer team?
no,
Were you aware of summer classes that Ethan took?
no,
Your knowledge, you never met Ethan in person,
no,
and so really your knowledge about Ethan is very limited from what you heard from his mother, is that correct?
Yeah.
And Ethan was not something or someone she talked about with you at the office frequently, correct?
Correct.
When you testified that Jennifer was at the barn daily, is that your perception of what she was doing, or do you have actual knowledge that she went to the barn every day?
It was almost every day that she would tell me she was going after work.
Almost every day?
Yes.
And so based on the fact that she went to the barn frequently, did you have any other awareness of what she was doing at night or on weekends, things like that?
No,
Through her Facebook page, would you see the camping trips and family trips they took?
occasionally, yes.
Okay, so you were aware that we do not dispute it, Jennifer loves horses, correct?
Yes.
And she would post pictures from the horses in the farm.
Yes.
Pictures of her family camping and on vacation.
Yes.
You testified that you saw the picture of the targets that were shot, that were posted on Facebook, correct?
Yes.
On November 30th, you testified that you spoke to Jennifer briefly when she came in, is that right?
Yes.
And that you could hear a phone call from James about a school shooter, is that correct?
Yes.
Was that the first thing on your radar about something going on at the Oxford High School?
At the school in general or with Ethan?
Either, so at the school in general?
That was the first time with the school, but I did hear the call prior when she was being called to the school.
Okay, but that was the first you were aware that there was a shooting or a larger scale incident at Oxford?
Yes.
At what point did you see the photograph of the drawing Ethan made on the map paperwork?
When did I see it first?
Yeah,
When she returned from the meeting at the school.
so that was the day before, correct?
No, I saw the photo on the 30th.
You saw the photo on the 30th?
Yes.
Okay. And when you testified that you found it to be disturbing and scary, correct?
Yes.
Jennifer also seemed concerned about that drawing on that map paperwork, correct?
Yes.
She was talking about whether or not he would stay at school or if he was coming home that day, correct?
No.
She ultimately told you that they left him at school that day. You're aware of that, correct?
Yes. She told.
Did you have conversations with Jennifer about why they left him at school?
Yeah.
Were you aware that the school told Jennifer he was of no threat to anyone?
Objection, Your Honor, that is not a fact and evidence anywhere.
I'm asking if she's aware.
Answer the question, overruled, go ahead.
I'm sorry, would you mind repeating it?
Were you aware, did Jennifer say anything that the school told Jennifer he is not a threat to anyone?
No.
Did Jennifer tell you any concerns about Ethan staying home from school versus going because of how the Zoom school year had gone the year before?
No.
Did Jennifer tell you anything about having the option to take him from school or leave him at school?
No.
As you testified that you would have taken him home as your son, is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you have children?
Yes.
How old are your children?
He's young.
Under 15?
Yeah.
How old?
Your Honor, I just, the way that, I don't know how this is relevant, and it's clear she's not comfortable answering these questions, given the amount of attention the case is getting, so I would just ask if we could just limit. I don't know why she needs to know the precise age of her child.
Your Honor, she was allowed to give opinions about what a mother would do on direct. I think this is a fair question, background question. I would ask the media not to put this out there. This is not.
She didn't give an opinion about what a mother would do. She gave an opinion about what she would do. So I don't know why we then have to ask her about her personal life. I don't know how the age and number and
It's the
gender.
relevancy as to the age of the child.
The prosecution opened the door as to her giving an opinion about a child, whether they should be taken home from school or not. She testified that as a mother, she would have taken the child home. I'm asking her as a mother, how old her child is.
You can ask her a range.
A range, okay.
Thank you.
Can we have an age range, please, for your son?
He's a toddler.
Okay, so not anywhere near a teenager.
No.
Not even like a middle schooler, right?
No.
And the day that you saw Jennifer, when you say you would have taken him home, you didn't say to Jennifer, you should have taken him home, correct?
No.
You didn't call the police and say, I just saw a very alarming drawing and this mother did not take her child home from school, correct?
Correct. You
You didn't call the school and say, hey, I'm concerned because I just saw this drawing and mother seems to not be worried about it, correct? You, as a matter of fact, you didn't do anything after seeing that drawing with respect to the drawing, correct?
I told her I would have taken my son home.
That's all you did though.
Yes.
And now looking at the situation, you have a greater awareness based on hindsight, 20/20 vision, correct?
I'm not, I don't know.
Some of the things that you're testifying about, you would agree with me, you know more information now than you did at the time when you were having conversations with Jennifer Crumbely, correct?
About this case?
Yes.
Yes.
You had no idea school shooting was gonna take place based on seeing that drawing from that math paper, correct?
Correct.
You did not voice to anyone after seeing that drawing on the math paperwork, there could be a school shooting, correct?
I think the gun was alarming. I think that if I thought about it now, I think that, correct. I don't think I would know that.
So you would agree with me that you look at things differently in hindsight, when you look back, you
Yeah,
look at
when I
things
look back,
differently,
yeah.
correct? When Jennifer did talk to you on the day of the school shooting, she said that the school wanted Ethan in counseling, correct?
Yes.
She did not tell you she wasn't gonna get him in counseling, correct?
We can discuss it further.
She didn't say anything to indicate to you then that she wasn't going to follow the school's counseling idea, correct?
Correct.
She said to you that she felt like a failure. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And we can agree that Jennifer can have a sarcastic personality at times.
Yes.
And when she said something like, I feel like such a failure, it's possible that some of that was sarcasm, correct?
Yes.
Jennifer did say that night she was going to take Ethan to the barn with her, correct?
Yes.
She did say she did not want him to be alone, correct?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
Did she say anything about him being alone?
No, not that day.
Did she talk to you about who he would have been with had he left school that day?
No.
As far as you knew it, Jennifer's plan after work that day was to get Ethan and take him to the barn, correct?
Yes.
And Jennifer said she was doing that whether or not Ethan wanted to, correct?
Yes.
She was concerned about being with Ethan after school.
I don't know.
She was planning to be with Ethan after school. When the alert came in about the school shooting, you would agree Jennifer was panicking.
Yeah.
And you testified that she ran out of the school quickly.
Yes.
And she appeared upset as she was running out of the building and leaving, is that correct?
Yes.
And I imagine that everyone in your office was nervous and anxious about what was unfolding, is that correct?
Yes.
And it was something that all of you were talking about, especially because Jennifer was running out the door and her son went to that high school, is that correct?
Yes.
It's also fair to say that after Jennifer did leave that day, you sent her a message, is that correct?
Yes,
And your message was intended to be kind
yes,
and intended to be supportive,
yes,
and you pretty much said something along the lines of thinking of you guys, correct?
yes,
And also that you hope her and her family were doing all right.
yes,
That was before you knew exactly what had unfolded, correct?
correct.
I have no further questions.
Any questions on behalf of James Crumbly?
None for Mr. Crumbly, Your Honor.
Any redraft?
Yes. Okay, Jennifer Crumbly told you she was having an extramarital affair, correct?
Yes,
And it was a romantic relationship, correct?
Yes.
And you asked her, or she told you, she saw this person during work hours in the parking lot of Costco in the car, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Defense counsel just asked you a lot of questions about what you knew and what you didn't know, and if you would have been alarmed, if you would have called the police, if you would have, what you would have done. Did you know that they bought their son a gun and gave him access to it?
no,
Objection, Your Honor.
Did you know, I'm not, did you know that
Hang on a
the gun?
second, hang on a second, let's get the objection. What was the objection?
It's an improper question, and the prosecutor repeatedly keeps asking questions that are designed to inflame the public and make everyone believe there was access to the gun that has not been testified to. It's not true. And these questions are by design to try to have these people convicted in the media. That question is improper. It's also assuming facts not in evidence, and facts that will never be in evidence.
Your Honor, and if you recall, we objected previously with another witness and you sustained the objection using almost identical language.
I've asked those questions, Your Honor.
Refrain from the asking the question relative to access. I've already sustained the objection.
Okay. Did you know that the gun in the Crumbly's possession was identical to the drawing that their son made on the math worksheet?
no,
Did you know that the day before, Jennifer Crumbly texted her son, LOL, just you have to learn not to get caught when he was in trouble for searching ammunition?
no,
Did you know that James Crumbly, upon hearing there was a school shooting, went to the house to look for the gun?
no,
Okay. Did you know he called 911 then and said that I think my son is the school shooter?
no,
Okay. Did you know how many hours and hours that Ethan Crumbley, the shooter, spent at his house by himself?
Objection.
What's the objection?
Again, question with no foundation, with absolutely no
I'm
foundation of how this
sustaining
witness would know.
the objection.
Thank
It's
you,
also
Your Honor.
asking her to speculate. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I'll move on, but there was a lot of requests for her to speculate in the cross-examination. My point is, there was a lot you didn't know, correct?
correct,
But just what you knew, not as his parent, not what he did, not any of the other things, you were alarmed and concerned when you saw that worksheet, correct?
yes,
Nothing further.
You may step down. You may step down. Call your next witness.
You got it. Call Detective Edward Wagrowski.
Can you first one itself?
Do you want?
Your Honor, may this witness be excused?
Any objection?
No objection.
None for Mr. Crumbly, Your Honor.
I need prosecutor. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. It'll be 1 minute, we're just taking a quick break. Yeah, I'm not taking a break.
What were some of your previous assignments?
I worked dispatch, assigned corrections, road patrol.
Sir, if you could please tell us what a detective in the Oakland County Sheriff's Office computer crimes unit does.
We examine cell phones, computers, do forensic examinations, DVR systems.
Now, in your 25 years of experience with the Sheriff's Office, have you had the opportunity to participate in any specific trainings with regards to forensic analysis of computers and cell phones?
Yes, sir, extensive.
Could you tell us a little bit about that,
The main one that we attend is an international certification, IASIS, and you have to renew that every year. There's a 7-month testing process for that. Cellbrite is some of the software we use. There's training for that I've been to, a certified user for that. Axiom software.
Now, sir, I imagine that in this particular field, technology is always changing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, would it be fair to say then that your training is also ongoing?
Every year, yes.
And sir, you provided us with your CV. By my count, you have 30 trainings specific to cell phone and counseling. Does that sound about right?
Yes, sir.
Every time you had to actually take a test to receive a certification, it's passed.
Yes, sir.
In your 7 years working with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office Computer Crimes Unit, you had the opportunity to conduct data extraction on cell phone.
Yes, sir.
Is this something you do on a regular basis?
Almost every day.
Would you put a number on how many times you've actually done a data extraction on a cell phone?
Well over 500 times.
Tell us how the process, how that works.
So if a phone's brought in by a detective in charge of a case, they bring it in, we hook it up, there's software that we have, a device, the UFED touch was made by Cellbrite. Hook it up to that device, extracts the data off of it. Then we use software, UFED physical analyzer, usually to examine the data that was obtained from the device.
Now, this is Cellbrite, this is software, correct?
Cellbrite is a company.
It's a company, okay?
UFED physical analyzer software.
Okay. And after you review the data on the UFED physical analyzer, are you able to export it in a readable format?
Yes, sir.
Is that typically done in PDF form?
Usually, yes.
Have you ever been qualified as an expert witness?
Yes, sir.
In which courts?
6th Circuit Court, 43rd District Court in Ferndale, and 52-2.
So 6th Circuit Court, that is the entire Oakland County Circuit Court, am I right?
Yes, sir.
So is it more than one judge you can qualify as an expert?
Yes, sir.
In what field you can qualify as an expert?
Cell phone forensics, computer forensics, and call detail record mapping.
Judge, at this point, I'm going to qualify as witness as an expert in the field of cell phone forensics under MRA 703.
Any objection?
Your Honor, we have no objection. I do just want to make one thing clear. We were told that the mapping would not be testified to, and that's some of the information we didn't receive. I just want to make sure we're on track with that.
No, that's correct, Judge. We're not going to explore the call detail record mapping at this preliminary examination. He was just testifying that in his experience, he's done it.
Okay, the court will go ahead and qualify him as an expert witness.
No objection from Mr. Crumbly either, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sir, I would like to direct your attention to November the 30th, 2021. Do you remember that day?
Yes, sir.
Were you working?
Yes, sir.
Were you made aware of the school shooting at Oxford High School?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you did.
I got prepared. I was notified by our captain that there was a shooting in Oxford and everybody had to go. And I got equipment that you would need to deal with a situation like that.
What sort of equipment?
Body armor, duty rifle, stuff like that.
So this is you, a detective in computer crimes. You were still obtaining that sort of gear.
Yes, sir. Everybody has it.
Did you actually go to the high school?
At first, I went to the minors, and then I went to the high school.
And there's a minor adjacent to the high school, all right?
Yes, sir.
Why'd you go to the minor?
There's a lot of radio traffic. I could hear staging area and garden center for the mire and stuff like that. So when I got up there, I wasn't entirely familiar with the area. I'm not from that area. So I saw the mire and that's where I went first.
Okay. At some point while you were on scene at the minor, were you requested to report to the Oxford High School office?
Yes, sir.
Did you do so?
Yes, sir.
What was the purpose for you being cast there?
To help get the DVR, the video footage of the school.
Did somebody from the school assist you with that?
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
Jim Moore.
Okay, and what is his role there, if you know?
He's part of their security, private security.
So in your role as a detective with the computer crimes unit, you were asked to obtain and review the footage, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Did you actually review the footage of the shooting from November the 3rd?
Yes, sir.
Were you also requested to review footage from other parts that day?
Yes, sir.
In fact, did you eventually obtain the entire server from the school?
Yes, sir.
Now, as a member of the Oakland County Sheriff's Office Computer Crimes Unit, do you work hand in hand with other detectives from the unit?
All the time.
Okay. So this is probably especially true in a case such as this.
Absolutely.
Now, in this case, were cell phones seized from James, Jennifer, and Ethan Crumbley.
Yes, they were.
And those were seized pursuant to search warrant?
Yes, sir.
Now, in addition to the Oxford High School surveillance system, did you also obtain surveillance footage from accurate fire?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what did you do with that?
Because the way the video system is, it's broken up into 16 different cameras. So I was able to take clips of the day that were of interest and string them all together.
Okay. Now, during the course of this investigation, did you become aware that James Crumbly was employed as a DoorDash driver?
Yes, sir.
And was a search warrant executed on the company DoorDash to obtain records from that company?
Yes, sir.
Did you review those as well?
Yes, sir.
Was information obtained from social media outlets through search warrant as well?
Yes, sir.
Does that include Instagram and Facebook?
Yes, sir.
Now, sir, is it true that even if another detective actually authored the search warrant, when the information is received, it's a detective like yourself from computer crimes that actually goes through that information?
Yes, sir.
In this case, did you have the opportunity to review the data extractions from James Crumbly's cell phone, Jennifer Crumbly's cell phone, and Ethan Crumbley's cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Did you use the Cellbrite program that we talked about?
You guys want to analyze this?
Now, is it fair to say that your average cell phone nowadays has quite a bit of data on it?
Yes, sir.
So it takes some time to review that data and export it?
Absolutely.
Now, tell us, detective, if someone were to actually deactivate their social media accounts, would you as an investigator still hope to obtain that information from the device itself?
Yes, sir.
Tell me why.
You would, it would still be on the device, even though they deactivated the account or the databases that the information stored in, that we're able to look at those and then see the text or the conversation of going back and forth in those databases.
Okay, now what if someone were to delete their account?
That's different, because then you're telling the phone that it's not of interest to you anymore, and the phone, depending on the operating system, will just say to save room or to make room, we're gonna get rid of it.
Now, could you, as an investigator in this field, still hope to obtain that data somehow?
Sometimes, yes, sir.
Tell me how.
But the devices or the software you use actually does what's called carving for data. And it looks deeper into the information that was obtained and try to extract those databases, even though they're broken up, we can sometimes put that together.
Okay. Now, if you were concerned that someone were going to delete their actual, let's say, Facebook or Instagram account, how would you, as an investigator, try to prevent all that data from being purged?
You would serve a preservation alert.
What's that mean?
It gives an investigator 90 days to get a search warrant, and it's served on the company, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, whatever. And it just tells them this account, don't do anything with it. Even if the user says, I don't want it anymore, just save it as it is right now.
And were preservation letters sent in this particular case?
Yes, sir.
Now, in addition to the data extractions and the cell phones themselves, did you have the opportunity to review search warrant returns from Ethan Crumbley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
About Jennifer Crumbley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
James Crumbley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
Jennifer Crumbley's Facebook account?
Yes, sir.
And James Crumbley's DoorDash account?
Yes, sir.
And also James Crumbley's Facebook account?
Yes, sir.
When the Crumbleys were interviewed, they give the police their phone numbers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then did the police also become known with Ethan Crumbley's phone?
Yes, yes, sir.
So what I'm asking you is, when you have a cell phone, it's given to you, you don't know whose it is right away, am I correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Now, is there a way for you, when you review the data extraction, to tie in the cell phone device to the owner of the cell phone device?
Yes, sir.
And how is that?
But usually the evidence bag that it comes in is marked as whoever phone it was. But it's also verified by when we extract the data from the phone number is saved in the phone, usually on the SIM card, and it's just able to read the phone number. So when we have someone's phone number, they tell us what it is, we compare it to the phone number that was obtained from the device, so we can put the two together.
Okay. So is this is called user accounts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is this information available on the data extractions of Ethan Crumbley's cell phone?
Yes, sir.
And also the defendants, James and Jennifer Crumbley's cell phone?
Right.
Okay. Also, how many devices were recovered from Jennifer Crumbley?
Jennifer Crumbly, there were 4 total cell phones that were recovered.
Tell me how that happened.
The first one, there was search warrant served on their house, shortly after the shooting, and their phones were seized then we discovered through the investigation that they went and purchased the exact same cell phones, and then also 2 track phones.
Okay, what's a track phone?
We refer to it as a burner phone, like it's a prepaid phone that you can get from Walmart or Fire.
Okay, and how many phones were seized from James Crumbley?
3.
When we say 3, we're talking about the original, the same phone that you just referred to, and then the track phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what about Ethan Crumbley?
Just 1.
Now, throughout the course of this direct examination, I am going to be referring only to their original cell phone, the phone that was seized in the date of the search warrant, unless I specifically say otherwise. So we're clear.
Okay, yes, sir.
Now, as part of your data extraction from Jennifer Crumbly's cell phone, is you review audio recordings.
Yes, sir.
You have occasion to identify an audio recording that was saved as a voicemail on November 29, 2021.
Yes, sir.
Judge, this is People's Proposed Exhibit 9. I believe we have a stipulation tonight, so the voicemail on November 29.
We do, Your Honor, we just would ask that the entire voicemail be played.
Certainly.
Okay, there's a stipulation as to both attorneys.
Correct, Your Honor.
And this is not.
Based upon the stipulation, the court will go ahead and admit the reporting into evidence.
My name is Pam Fine. I'm calling from Oxford High School, and I'm here with Mr. Hopkins, who's Ethan's counselor. I was just calling to let you know that we just spoke with Ethan, had a really nice conversation. One of his teachers had sent an email to the office just that she was concerned because Ethan, when she was walking around the room checking assignments, that he was on his phone looking at bullets and that sort of thing. So she just wanted us to have a conversation. We did. He said he had been to the shooting range with you this weekend, and we were like, yep, guns are a hobby for a lot of people and shooting ranges, and that's perfectly normal. And that we just wanted to make sure I had a conversation with him about the things he searches at school, and things versus searching at home. Like Mr. Hopkins gave a good example of like if a teacher makes beer at home, perfectly normal and healthy, but can't be using searches for making beer at school. So we had that conversation. He was great. He was like, yep, I get it. So I just wanted to let you know that we did have that conversation with him, and I don't know, about 5 minutes, and he went back to class. All right, if you have any questions, you can give me a call at 248-572-9565. 248-572-9565. Otherwise, that'll be a great holiday. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Detective, that was a 1 minute and 25-second audio recording. That was the complete recording from the phone, all right?
Yes, sir.
Now, he testifies that you reviewed the data extractions on both Ethan and Jennifer Crumbly's phone, right?
Yes, sir.
You were able to review a text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and Jennifer Crumbly found in Jennifer Crumbly's phone.
Yes, sir.
Did you export that to a PDF?
Yes, sir.
When you review a data extraction on Cellbrite, you were able to put it in searchable format?
Yes.
Okay, tell me how that works.
There's within different tasks, either whether it's a text message or call log or whatever, there's a search field and you just type in whether it's a phone number, a name, keyword or whatever, put it in there and it just narrows down the search of the information of what you're looking for.
Okay, thank you. Now, sir, this entire text thread is 293 pages with about 1,150 messages, is that right?
Sounds all right, sir.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, can the prosecutor repeat that and slow down? I can't hear him.
Yeah, if you could, I'm
Sorry,
saying
which
you
judge?
should slow down a little bit,
Sure.
and then we can hear the full question.
Thanks, Judge.
Absolutely. The actual printout of the text thread between Ethan and Jennifer Crumbly is 293 pages in total, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, judges, this is proposed exhibit 10. I do not believe we have an objection. This is pages 286 to 291. For the record, we do have a thumb drive for the court as well as defense counsel with the entire exported text thread, but this exhibit is page 286 to 291.
So the exhibit itself is a portion of the
Correct.
thumb drive. Okay, any objections to the admissibility of exhibit 10?
Actually, yes, the exhibit that was given to me actually goes through page 293,
Right,
but you said,
293, that's right.
okay,
286 through 293 is what I have.
okay, no.
Oh,
objection
you're
to
right, I
that.
said 291, I'm sorry, Judge. It should be 293.
He said it 2 pages shorter, so I just want to make sure we go all the way through 293.
We're correct, we're right. Yeah.
All right, so for purposes of admissibility for those documents, any objections, that being pages 286 through 293 of the text messages?
No, Your Honor.
None for Mr. Crumbly, Your Honor.
All right, those will be admitted.
May I approach that?
Yes.
Sir, I'm handing you these pages that I just referred to as people's proposed 10, admitted 10 now. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize that?
It's an export in a PDF format from a text thread.
But it's published on the screen. Now, at the top, the top right is a green text bubble, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is on page 286 that I've identified. And what does it say at the top there?
The sentence,
Well, first of all, does it identify owner?
it doesn't identify the owner, it says who it's to.
Okay, but this was taken off of Jennifer Crumbly's phone, is that
Yes,
right?
sir.
All right, and who does it say it's to?
Ethan.
Okay, is that the phone number provided for Ethan Crumbley?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this message was sent to Ethan Crumbley from Jennifer Crumbley, according to your analysis.
Correct.
All right, and what's the first message?
Seriously, question mark, looking up bullets in school, question mark, question mark.
And what time and date was that sent?
That's on the 29th of November, 2021 at 11:53 a.m.
What was the response?
He responded almost immediately after by saying, what?
Okay, was there a second and third response?
Yep, he responded saying, oh yeah, I already went to the office for that.
And then this is page 287, the top, this is the blue text bubble, what does it say?
It was in first hour. All I did was look up a certain caliber at the end of class because I was curious.
And what time is that sent?
That's at 11:54.
Next text, please.
He's saying it was on my phone. Completely harmless. Teachers just had no privacy.
And the first text from Ethan Crumbley to Jennifer Crumbley on the following page.
They said I'm all good. I understand why they talked to me and they said that I'm good.
Okay, and you're reading this exactly how it's
Exactly.
on the page, okay.
Yes, sir.
In the follow-up text,
This is nothing I should get in trouble about.
okay, what time was that sent?
That was at 11:55.
Also on November the 29th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
All right. And there was a response there from Jennifer Crumbley.
Yes.
What was that?
She responded with, you're not, they left me a voicemail. And then there's emojis after it with hand over face.
Okay. And what time and date was that?
At 12:13, and 11:29.
Sir, what does this text here, the green bubble sent from Jennifer Crumbley to Ethan Crumbley say?
On the next page,
Yes, sir.
it says, did you at least show them a pic of your new gun?
And what time did she write that?
At 12:14.
On November 29th as well?
Yes, sir.
What was his response?
No, I didn't show them the pic, my God.
And the next?
I only told them I went to the range with you on Saturday. It was a harmless act.
Okay. Now we're on page 290, the first text from Ethan Crumbley to Jennifer Crumbley.
I had this bullet cartridge in my room that I didn't, what kind of bullet it was. And it said it was a 22. So at the end of first hour, I just looked up different types of 22 bullets. And I guess the teachers can't get their eyes off my screen, SMH.
What does SMH mean?
Generally means shake my head.
And what was Jennifer Crumbley's response to that?
LOL, I'm not mad. You have to learn not to get caught.
Are there periods in between some of these words?
Yes, in between, I'm not in the beginning of the sentence, and then in between the 3 words of not get caught.
What time did she write, you have to learn not to get caught?
That was at 12:31.
On November the 29th?
Yes, sir.
And his response to that?
IK LOL.
Is there a follow-up response?
He had, looks appears to be laughing emojis.
And on page 291.
I just didn't want something this little to get me in trouble because, well, I didn't want to get in trouble, LOL.
And did he have another text on that?
He stated, I want to hear the voicemail when I get home though.
And the next?
Also, I never tried to hide. We looked up the bullet. I just didn't think a teacher would be staring at my phone.
Did she respond to that?
She did. Jennifer responded, okay, I saved it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but those are the text messages from November the 29th, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, we'll come back to this exhibit in a little bit. May I approach the witness, Judge?
Yes.
Detective, you told us that you've had the opportunity to review data received from Instagram, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. did that include Ethan, Jennifer, and James' accounts?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you know what Jennifer Crumbly's Instagram username?
It was identified as Gen C 78, JEHN C 78.
Okay. And were you able to find that on the device as well?
Yes, sir.
When you're able to locate that information on the device, are you able to export that to a PDF?
Yes, sir.
May I approach? This is People's Proposal 11. So what is it that I just handed you?
It's a PDF report from Physical Analyzer software.
And what is it saying there?
It is user accounts is the report itself, and it's the username of Gen C JEHN C 78
Okay.
for Instagram.
And so that's how you're able to verify what Jennifer Crumbly's Instagram username is.
Yes, sir.
If people move to minute number 11.
Any objection?
No objection.
None from Mr. Crumbly.
Be admitted.
I'm just going to publish this just for the court. So this is the page that I handed you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So under user account, we talked about user accounts earlier. So under user accounts here, we have a username,
Yes, sir.
and this is where we have JEHNC78. Is that right?
Correct.
We able to determine if James Crumbly had an Instagram account as well.
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what his username was?
His name, James Crumbly 54321.
And did you do the same process with the user accounts on James Crumbly's actual device to verify that?
Yes, sir.
May I approach that?
Yes.
This is People's Proposed 12. Sir, what am I handing you?
It's a PDF report from Physical Analyzer software.
Did you obtain that in the same method? Did you obtain information for Jennifer Crumbly's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
Okay. People move to minute number 12.
No
Any
objection. None from Mr. Crumbly.
Publish this.
Any objection from Jennifer Crumbly?
No objection, thank you.
Shall be admitted.
And sir, on the screen here, this appears to be the same type of PDF, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but this is from James Crumbly, and we know that from his user account information,
Yes, sir.
and it has a username of James Crumbly 54321, which you've identified earlier.
Correct.
Thank you. Now, referring first to the Instagram returns for Ethan Crumbley, how many known Instagram accounts did Ethan Crumbley have?
I'm sorry, for
Ethan
Ethan.
Crumbley, yes.
3.
Okay, do you recall the names of them?
One was Danny Vader. The other one was Ethan.Crumbley, period. And then Ethan_Crumbley.
I want to talk to you just right now about the Ethan.Crumbley accounts. For pictures and, first of all, did you receive information from Instagram on that account?
Yes, sir.
Did you have the opportunity to review that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Were pictures and posts made on that account?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to show you, this is People's Proposal 13. Yeah, process.
Yes.
This is 13, council. Sir, what have I just handed you?
Search warrant return from Instagram.
Okay, that for the Ethan.Crumbley account,
Yes, sir.
and that exhibit, proposed exhibit has a number of pages, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that the information that you actually received and reviewed from the Ethan.Crumbley account?
Correct, yes, sir.
People move to a minute.
Any objection on behalf of Jennifer Crumbly?
Your Honor, there's no objection to the photo part of it being admitted, but there's some text afterwards that I don't believe is relevant. I suppose I can ask the witness about it on cross-examination. It's not,
I could just.
Just for clarification and for reference, according to my documents, exhibit 13 is several pages, correct?
Yes, sir.
How many pages do you know?
17.
16, 17? 17 pages. Do you have all 17 pages?
17 pages.
It is 17 total, well, the last page is blank.
I do have 17 pages. If I could just ask the prosecutor very quickly. Okay, I have no objection, thank you.
Okay, any objection on behalf of James Crumbly?
None for Mr. Crumbly, Your Honor.
Okay, exhibit 13 will be admitted.
When we publish.
And then just for clarification, this is for just the Ethan Crumbly account?
Ethan.Crumbley, yes, Judge, that's it. Now, are you able to tell when you look at the Instagram return, what time something is posted, date and time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this first, on page 1 here, we have an image, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this image appears to be a target with holes in it.
Correct.
All right, I want to make sure I look at the same one. We have a taken date and time. Do you see
Correct.
that as well?
Yes, sir.
What is the taken date and time?
Taken date time is 11/27/2021 at 19:02 UTC.
Now, when you see UTC without a minus next to it, what does that mean?
It's just, that's the time at Greenwich Mean Time, where all time starts, and depending on how far you are away from Greenwich Mean Time, you lose an hour or gain an hour, and currently we're at -5
Okay, so was this picture actually posted at 1900 hours or a different time?
at a different time,
And what time is that?
1400, 1402.
Okay. So it's 2 o'clock.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you said it was posted at 14:02,
Yes, ma'am.
taken at 19:02.
No, ma'am, no, it's taken, it was actually taken with the soft, not the software. Instagram logs all their stuff at UTC time, so UTC was not, it's 7:02 or 19:02. But since we're at -5 right now, it's 14:02, actually when it was taken and posted.
Thank you.
Detective, was there text associated with this photograph as well?
Yes, sir.
And I'm not going to ask you about the other comments that have been posted after November the 27th, just the comments posted by the user of the account. So page 2, at the top, we have a text area.
Yes, sir.
What does that say?
It's, took my new SIG out to the range today, definitely need to get used to the new sites, LOL.
Okay, now that was posted by the user, and we've identified that as Ethan Crumbley, is that right?
Correct.
I'm going to scroll through to the next photograph. This is on the 3rd page of what I've handed you. Is there this photograph of a firearm? We're looking at the same page?
Yes, sir.
All right. And does it have a date and time taken?
Yes, sir.
And what date is that?
Taken 11/26/2021 at 18:06 UTC or 3:06.
Okay, so the target was taken November 27th, but the picture of this firearm was taken November the 26th.
Correct.
And do we have a text associated with the user of this account?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Just got my new beauty today with heart eyes emoji. 6 hour 9mm. Ask any questions, I will answer.
Now to the following page, we have another photograph. This is also a firearm.
Yes, sir.
All right, and what is the date and time on this?
Date and time 11/26/2021 at 18:06 UTC or 3:06
Okay,
in Michigan.
and that was about the same time the other photograph was posted as well, right?
Correct.
And we have a text box for the user, and it's the same text, just got my new beauty today with the heart eyes emoji.
Correct.
The following page, page 5 here, what are we looking at?
Picture of someone holding a handgun, 20 towards the floor.
And this was a, we have a date and time when this was taken and posted?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
11/26/2021 at 18:06 UTC or 3:06 in Michigan.
Okay, and again, the same text, just got my new beauty today with heart eyes emoji?
Correct.
Okay, so when we have the same date and time with multiple photographs that we have here, it's fair to assume that it's a one Instagram post with multiple photographs?
Yes, sir.
You have a chance to review some of the other photographs found on this account.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to scroll briefly through these. This is page 6. Page 7. You found that one as well?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor. I'm sorry, Mark, can you hold on 1 second, please?
Correct.
So these are all the same.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Now, Detective, we know for sure that the firearms are posted by the user, Ethan Crumbley. What about these other photographs? Were they posted by Ethan Crumbley or were they just shared on his account?
Okay, first of all, let's identify what photographs you're talking about.
Thank you, Judge, I appreciate that. We're starting with what's on page 6 of the photograph that's being published right now.
The question is whether it's shared versus posted by Ethan.
Correct.
Crumbley.
It would be, looking at this, looks like they were posted by.
All right, I'm gonna move back down to, we have page 7, I think we've already viewed this one. Page 8 is where we stopped. Page 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. And the last one is all black.
Your Honor, at this point, I stipulate to pages 1 through 5 coming in as Ethan's account, but it's very clear that 6 through 17 are other usernames throughout the pictures.
We can have detective verify, Judge.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you don't mind, as
Clarify.
far as further response, Judge, our next exhibit is a contact page of both James and Jennifer's devices that show they follow the Ethan Crumbley account. It's
Your
not
Honor.
really
Okay, but as it relates to the pages of photographs, that's being pages 6 through 16. Please clarify with the witness who actually posted those photographs.
Again, Judge, I don't mind clarifying with the detective, however, our position is that, as we'll show.
He had it on his Instagram.
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead and see if you can clarify, just by virtue of the information that's provided on the exhibit. If you can, you can, if you can, you can. I do have one question. Detective, if you look at page 6, the photograph,
Yes, ma'am.
and if you look at the text underneath the photograph, it has 2 usernames there.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the court what the significance is of those usernames on that particular page?
Those appear to be state commented on the picture. One says, the text says TF, the other one text says, so true.
Okay, thank you.
Are you going to tell, based upon this exhibit, detective?
Based on this, I'm looking at the upload IDs. One second. So the IP address that was used to upload the photos of the firearm that had text that we know Ethan made is different, but yet a little similar without double checking, being able to check the IP addresses of all the uploads. I couldn't tell you right now for certain.
Okay.
But the fact that the one has comments after it would lead me to believe that that was posted by Ethan.
Okay. And let me
Yeah,
ask
that's in page 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we can explore this more on cross-examination, but these are very different circumstances. This has usernames listed that are not Ethan Crumbley's. So we object again to pages 6 through 17 coming in.
Do you want to go out your room?
I will buy your own.
Go ahead and I'll let you go right here.
Okay, detective, on pages 1 through 5, where photos are, we're talking about the picture of the target, and then there's a picture of a gun in a case, and a picture of Ethan holding a gun presumably, and then a picture of Ethan pointing the gun down. Those 5 pages, after each of those pictures, you can see that it says comments user Ethan.Crumbly, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, on page 6, there's a different photograph of like this ghost face And in the same spot where it says Ethan.Crumbley, it says user Augusto Ferrari 0227.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Augusto Ferrari is, and there is nothing on here showing Ethan.Crumbley's name, correct?
On page 6, ma'am?
Yes.
Correct.
But on pages 1 through 5, Ethan.Crumbley is on all of those photographs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the photograph with the white face, the second page that looks like it's kind of that same white face, page 7 of 17, again, nowhere on there does that say Ethan.Crumbley.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
And the following page where 8 of 17, again, it does not say Ethan.Crumbley anywhere.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Same thing on page 9 out of 17.
Just if I may, this might help shorten this a little bit. I'm not offering those photographs to show that Ethan Crumbley took the photograph. They're offered because they're on his Instagram account.
Okay, and that's what he needs to clarify.
We,
So as it relates to those photographs where Ethan Crumbley is not listed, how can you identify whether or not it was on Ethan Crumbley's account?
Because the search, that was the information that was given to us by Instagram from the search warrant that was still served on them. That this was, that these were the photos and texts that were associated to his Ethan.Crumbley Instagram account.
Okay, when you look at the photographs and you look at the documents, is there anything, any reference to his actual account, and if so, where is that?
To the ones starting on page 6, ma'am,
Yes,
there is not, starting on page 15, it does again appear his name, Ethan.Crumbley, it was the finger, the circle finger like that. And then also for the very last one on page 16, his name is also associated with that as well.
Your Honor, on the page 15 and 16 that the detective just pointed out, those are like the first couple of pictures. We have no objection to
I
those.
understand, I can see the difference between it. So the question is for pages 6 through 14, other than what Instagram told you, how do you know that that's his account?
Based on these documents, there's no way to know unless we were, we'd probably have to do a couple more search warrants on an IP address or something to see where it came from. But that's usually Instagram, when we ask for a specific account, they give us everything associated with that account that we serve the preservation letter on also.
So, Your Honor, we would object to part 7, pages 7 through 14 being admitted. We have no objection, I'm sorry, page 5. 6
Page 6.
through 17, and actually not that, 6 through 14, there's no basis for. Page 15 is fine, page 16 is fine, and pages 1 through 5 are fine.
So you can give it whatever way. I've already made my position.
You certainly will have the opportunity to cross-examine him on that, and counsel's correct, I will consider the weight of that evidence as it relates to those pages and the information that we just gleaned from the detective, whether or not we can actually attribute this to his account.
Thank you, Judge. Now, detective, if somebody has, just a general course, if you have an Instagram account and you post and share photographs, people who follow you can view those, am I right?
Correct, yes, okay.
Now, looking on the devices of both James and Jennifer Crumbly, were you able to determine if they follow the Ethan.Crumbley?
Yes, sir.
May I approach the Judge?
Yes.
Did you? Was 14. Nancy was 15. Starting with 14. Sir, what did I just hand you?
PDF export from pistol analyzer software.
Okay, so we're looking at an export from Jennifer Crumbly's contacts regarding Instagram, is that right?
Exhibit 14?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you obtained that from the device itself, from Jennifer Crumbly's device itself.
Yes, sir.
People move to bit 14.
Your Honor, I would object. I don't see at all where it says it's from Jennifer's device.
May I?
Detective, can you identify how you were able to determine that this is from Jennifer Crumbley's device.
When I was examining the device, I went to the contacts within what I knew to be her phone, which was compared with her phone number, and I exported it from her contacts.
Can I ask a follow-up question, Judge?
Go ahead.
Sir, every time you actually hit export and create a PDF, it doesn't actually list the phone's name, user account, phone number, am I right?
Correct, sir.
Okay, so this is based upon your actual knowledge, your personal knowledge of the phone data extraction.
Correct.
Your Honor, I would object. I can't see that from this portion of the exhibit that they've tendered,
But
and
you have his testimony, so you can certainly cross-examine him. He's indicated that he was the one that extracted it, and he is verifying based upon what he did, that this is in fact the documentation from that extraction. You will have the opportunity to cross-examine him on that, but for purposes of admissibility, I'm going to allow it.
Your Honor, I would, just for the record, joining the objection. And I don't know if we addressed that before, but Mr. Crumbly will be joining any of the objections we've raised for Mrs. Crumbly.
Published 14, which is in your hand right now. And this is what the PDF looks like when you export that information, am I right?
Correct, sir.
Now, you have 15 in front of you, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us what 15 is.
15 is an export from James Crumbly's cell phone for his contacts.
Okay. And then it is James Crumbly's Instagram contacts as well?
Correct.
Okay, what does that tell you?
It says, has a contact of Ethan Crumbley on Instagram, he's following.
Okay. So following Ethan.com. That is 15 people move to him at 15.
Same objection?
Same objection, Your Honor.
Same objection for Jennifer Crumbley?
it's the same objection, but Your Honor, it's the same objection.
Corporal admitted over objection for the reasons previously stated on the record.
Thank you. I'm going to publish this for the detective to verify that what I published is what's in it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Sir, did you have the opportunity to review Jennifer Crumbly's Instagram returns?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, were there pictures and posts that you were able to obtain from that Instagram return?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to approach with people 16. They approach us. People approach 16. It's 4 pages here. Sir, do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize that?
It's a search warrant return, a printout of a search warrant return from Instagram.
Okay, and that's on the Jennifer Crumbly's identified Instagram account?
Correct.
People move to him at 16.
Any objection on behalf of James Crumbly to 16?
No objection to 16 for Jennifer.
No objection, Your Honor.
That will be admitted.
Thank you. Publish this for you, sir. Okay, again, we have the way the Ethan.Crumbley account looks. This account also has posts and text, am I right?
Correct.
Okay, so we have the first page here, we have a photograph,
Correct.
and I want to make sure we're looking at the same photograph. What are you seeing, sir?
I've seen a target got up here, 4 bullet holes in it.
Now, do we have a date and time of the photograph taken?
Taken 11/27/2021 at 1903 UTC or 203 in Michigan.
203, okay, thank you. And we have a text associated with that photograph.
Yes, sir.
And what's the text?
It says, Mom and Sunday testing out his new Xmas present. My first time shooting a 9mm, I hit the bullseye.
The second page, do we have another photograph?
Yes, sir.
And what do we see here?
It's a full back picture of appears to be the same target.
And the target doesn't have a name at the top.
Accurate firearms.
Do we have a date and time taken?
Taken 11/27/2021 at 1903 UTC or 203 in Michigan.
So we see a text, Mom and Sunday testing out his new Xmas present. My first time shooting a 9mm, I hit bullseye. I hit the bullseye. Is that the same text as the first post?
Correct, sir.
All right, thank you. Now we have another picture here. What do we see here?
That one is appears to be a 6-hour handgun, gun case with 2 magazines.
What's underneath the 6-hour handgun?
Looks like a pamphlet, says ATF, Youth Handgun Act Notice.
And what time was this taken?
This was taken at 11/27/2021 at 1903 UTC or 203 in Michigan.
And what's the text posted by the user on this account?
Same as the last one, Mom and Sunday, testing out his new Xmas present. My first time shooting 9mm, I hit the bullseye.
Now, sir, when you as an investigator obtain data from social media returns like Instagram or Facebook, do you then go through the devices themselves to correlate what other activities happening at the same place and time?
Usually, yes, sir. Not extensively. You don't want to go through the whole phone and change things or possibly delete things or move things around. But I just look for small key things that I'm going to see when I start examining the phone from the data that was pulled from it.
Okay, so we've already identified the post on the Ethan.Crumbley account of the handgun and the text message associated with the post about my new beauty. That was taken on November the 26th, am I right?
Right.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review the videos on Ethan Crumbley's cell phone data extraction?
Yes, sir.
Specifically, November the 26th, 2021, 6:39 p.m., a video posted that date and time. Did you review that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you've already had the chance before today to view that video, all right?
Correct.
People move to admit this is 17.
Any objection from James Crumbly,
None, Your Honor.
from Jennifer Crumbly?
No, Your Honor, as long as we're going to watch the video and I can make sure it's what.
Absolutely.
He admitted that's exhibit 17.
I'm going to play it on the screen here. And sir, if you could confirm that this is what you actually found off the phone. Sir, was that what you found off the Ethan Crumbley's phone on November the 26th, 6:39 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, does this firearm appear to be consistent with the firearm posted on the Ethan.Crumbley account?
Yes, sir.
Does it also appear to be consistent with the firearm posted on Jennifer Crumbley's Instagram account?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a 13-second clip. I'm going to back it up just a little bit at really at the very end, the 13th second here. What is this right here that we're looking at? This black rope object.
That would be a gun lock.
Okay. And is a gun lock provided to the purchaser of a handgun typically?
Yes, sir.
All right. And we already talked about the ATF notice. I'm going to back this video up a little bit more. Okay, sir, do we see that pamphlet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that the same, appear to be the same ATF Youth Handgun Act notice?
Yes, sir.
Just for the record, that was 17. Sir, now I want to move on to Facebook returns. We will determine the username of Jennifer Crumbley's Facebook profile.
Yes, sir.
And what was that?
JC Rumbley.
Okay. We will determine the username of James Crumbley's Facebook profile.
Yes, sir.
Did you recall that?
James R. Crumbly.
Were you able to extract a Facebook Messenger thread between the defendants, between James and Jennifer?
Yes, sir.
And it printed out how many pages was it?
Oh, thousands, I believe.
I want to talk specifically about the pages that the text that begin on 2042 through 2046 of that messenger thread. And just for the record, we tendered the entire messenger thread over to the defense, and the court has a copy as well.
That's marked as exhibit 18.
18, yes, Jeff, thank you.
Are you moving for admissibility right now?
I am, as soon as this is technical, I'll send it to you. May I approach
Okay,
that?
there's no stipulation on that, correct?
Counsel, I don't recall if we discussed this one or not. Counsel, we made a stipulation on exhibit 18.
I apologize, yes, exhibit 18 we do.
Thank you.
Okay, so stipulation is to both defendants as to the admissibility of 18.
Correct, Your Honor.
You admitted?
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
This is exhibit 18. The record, 5 pages there. We'll publish on the screen. Okay, I want to start with November the 30th. Okay, can you see the screen? All right, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we have Blue bubble on the left-hand side, the first text or Facebook messenger on message rather on November the 30th is from who?
From J.C. Crumbly.
Okay, and that's identified obviously as defendant Jennifer Crumbly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what date and time was this?
That was at 11/30/2021 at 9:33 a.m.
If you could read that post, please.
Call now, emergency, now's in all times.
Now, the second message she sent? The first message to follow that, right?
Sent after that was just the word emergency,
And what time was that sent?
9:35 a.m.
33 or 9:35?
35 a.m.
And what was the next message on that thread?
Jennifer sent 2 photos.
Okay, and were you able to tell in your data extraction and your review what these photographs were that she sent?
Yes, sir.
What are those photographs?
It's the drawing, the math test that Ethan had, that he had drawn on.
And sir, the top, one has already been admitted as the evidence, and then is exhibit 7. The other one is going to be exhibit 78. This is the author.
What number is that?
This is 78.
I'm sorry, you said you exhibit 7, what's the other one?
7 and 78. Judge.
78.
We don't have to.
This is a new edition, Judge.
I have through 77.
May I approach when it's all published to the court? This has been already admitted as 7. And what am I handing you right now?
It's a screenshot that is within the text message.
Okay, is that the first screenshot or the second screenshot? You can tell.
Here's to be the first.
Okay. Now this is people's proposed 78. Sir, do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize that?
It's the same, it's a math test, a copy of a math test with certain parts of the scribbled out.
Okay. And that would be the second attachment sent?
Yes, sir.
Okay. People move to omit 78. I'll publish the report.
No objection.
I will.
Yeah, we gotta have it right. Any objection by James Crumbly?
No objection, Your Honor.
Any objection by Jennifer Crumbly?
No, Judge.
Okay, so 78 will be admitted. That is a separate photograph that's gonna be marked right now.
Any first matter?
Yes. And that matches, I'm sorry, the first or the second photograph on Facebook posting.
Second.
Yeah,
Want to see it again?
yeah, no, it's the second, yes, no, I just want to make sure.
I'm going to put 78 on the screen to make sure that we are all talking about the same exhibit. Sir, is what I'm showing you on the screen right now, is this what we have identified as exhibit 78?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this was the second screenshot sent by Jennifer Crumbly,
Correct.
and that was on a text thread between Jennifer Crumbly and James Crumbly, correct?
The Facebook message, yes, sir.
Facebook, man, thank you. And that means it was sent by Jennifer to James?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to put up exhibit 7 right now. And sir, this is what we identified as the first screenshot sent, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Going back now to 18, which is the text, the Facebook message thread between Jennifer and James Crumbly. What time were these screenshots sent?
They were sent on 11/30/2021 at 9:30.
And I scroll down and I see a duplicate message. Is there, can you tell what happened there?
It's just where the software, it searches multiple areas and the device stores in different places. So whether it's found in a file system extraction or what's called a logical extraction, it's just letting you know that it found in multiple places.
Thank you. We have identical thing happening next. Okay, what was the response from James Crumbly to Jennifer Crumbly?
James responded with, "My God, WTF."
What's WTF mean?
Excuse me, what the fuck?
That was set November 30th, 2021, 9:44 a.m. from James to Jennifer Crumbly.
Yes, sir.
What's his next post? The next message, rather?
That not here yet. It's Muckle and Kira's Ford still waiting on that.
What time was that sent?
That was at 9:45 a.m.
And what was Jennifer Crumbly's response?
Her response, he said he was distraught about last night.
So she wrote, he said he was distraught about last night on November 30, 2021 at 9:50 a.m.
Correct.
What was James Crumbly's response to that message?
We talked about it this morning.
Go ahead, continue.
James then said, you talked to him?
And then her response?
She responded with, can you call? Question mark, heading to a school.
Okay. And then what is this last post here? The first post on page 2046.
Jennifer saying, I'm very concerned.
Okay, and she wrote that November 30th, 2021 at 10:04 a.m.
Right.
And then what's the next one?
At 10:12, she said headed to a school.
Now, these Facebook messages here that we refer to occurred, I think 9:33 a.m. was the first one, and then 10:12:58 was the last one. Is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, now through the data extractions, are you able to tell that they're communicating other than just Facebook messages?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review the call logs?
Yes, sir.
And are call logs part of your standard data extraction information that you receive?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you for people's proposed 19. Any approach that? So that is a PDF export from a call log data extraction from James Crumbly phone, is that right?
Correct. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's obviously not every phone call for the history of the device, but that's specific to that date that's been exported, am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
All right, there's one highlighted portion on there, and what's the date and time from that?
The date time is 11/30/2021 at 10:29 a.m.
Okay, does that have a phone number, who he called?
It's to, the contact is labeled Jen, 248-760-7502.
And that's the phone number you later learned to be Jennifer Crumbly's?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, and that's the export that you received from James Crumbly's phone?
Yes, sir.
People moved him at 19.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection, right?
You admitted?
Excuse me. Detective on the screen here, we're looking at the same exhibit, this is exhibit 19?
It appears so, yes, sir.
Okay, and let's scroll down the highlighted portion. This is 2, and then the phone number you identified as Jennifer Crumbly with the date November 30, 2021, in the time of 10:29 a.m.
Yes, sir.
And does it have a length in the phone conversation?
The length is 7 minutes and 16 seconds.
Okay, so we can tell they had a phone conversation at 10:23 a.m. for 7 minutes, is that right?
10:29.
10:20, thank you.
Robert,
The
what
date
was-
was 11:30, the time was 10:29, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
And it was a 7-minute call.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we have no objection to the admission of this, but the highlighting the prosecutor has added to it makes it look like they only had one 7-minute call when there's multiple calls between Jen and James, like preceding the highlighted call.
I can see that. I mean, that's clearly visible that there's more than one call. He's just asking him about the one highlighted. So if you want to ask him about the others, you certainly will have that opportunity.
No problem. Acknowledging that.
Well,
All right. Now, were you able to tell if anyone from the Oxford High School contacted Jennifer Crumbly in the morning of November the 3rd?
And
Yes, sir.
looking at this exhibit, number 19,
No, I'm sorry, we're moving on now. You already had a chance to look at Jennifer Crumbly's call records as well, all right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. So you were able to tell that she received a phone call from the school on November the 3rd.
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, in addition to the data extraction that you performed on these devices, you had testified earlier that you went to Oxford High School and you actually reviewed the footage in November 5th.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Were you requested to review footage from a meeting with James and Jennifer Crumbly with members of the Oxford High School on November 3rd?
Yes, sir.
All right. You come to learn that Oxford High School has both internal and external surveillance cameras, all right?
Yes, sir.
Now, were you able to determine what time these defendants arrived at the Oxford High School on November the 30th, 2021?
I believe it was about 10:37.
Now, sir, when you went through this, did you make any notes about it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You say, I believe. If you're not sure, let me know, and let me know if reviewing those notes and refresh your recollection.
Reviewing those would refresh my recollection.
There's one. May I approach the witness? I'm handing you a printout. And I have no problem if defense sees it as well when he's done reviewing it. Just tell me what I've handed you here.
It's the notes I took of when certain events happened, what cameras they came into, what they were doing as they approached the school and came into the school, not the school.
Okay, so these are notes you took to keep the time straight, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm referring specifically to November the 30th, 2021, the time that James and Jennifer Crumbly arrived at the Oxford High School. You know what time that?
It was at 10:37.
And then do you have recollection of when James and Jennifer Crumbly were actually seen into the office of Oxford?
For my notes just real quick. They entered the office at 10:39,
Okay.
25 seconds.
And do you know what time they were greeted by a school employee?
At 10:40.
And what time were they escorted somewhere?
Yes,
Okay. And what time were they seen next on the cameras leaving that meeting?
they were seen leaving counseling at 10:53.
So this meeting lasted, according to your camera review, approximately 13 minutes.
Yes, sir.
So what time did they leave the school?
They left the school at 10:54.
Did they arrive at the school in one car or two cars?
One car,
Did they leave in one car or two cars?
one car.
What time did they actually leave the actual school grounds?
We're leaving the parking lot at 10:56.
10:56. So I'm going to show you on the screen here, what's already been admitted is people sits. So this is a series of screenshots of messages between Kira Pinnock, excuse me, and Jennifer Crumbly.
I'm sorry, what exhibit are you looking at?
6.
6?
Now, sir, you told us that they left the parking lot, James and Jennifer Crumbly left the parking lot together on November the 30th, 2021 at 10:56 a.m. Correct. I'm looking for the first message after 10:56 a.m. What do we see here?
It's a message at 10:58 a.m.
Okay, and we've already identified this as Jennifer Crumbly to Kira Pinnock. Okay, I'll bring some out later. Just had to go to my son's school and meet his counselor. Shift it. Now, you've told us that you've had the opportunity to review messages on Jennifer Crumbly's phone, all right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, did you see this particular message on Jennifer Crumbly's phone?
I don't remember seeing that.
Okay, and if it wasn't on Jennifer Crumbly's device, what did that tell you in the message?
Then it was deleted.
Well, sir, you've had the chance to look at, you told us about DoorDash search warrant records, all right?
Yes, sir.
And you did so because you came to learn that James Crumbly was employed by DoorDash.
Right.
And first one,
Yes.
this is People's 20. Sir, what am I handing you right now?
This is a map I made for the DoorDash search warrant return.
Okay, and what did you do with the information and how did you create that?
I just put some marks on there for when the first DoorDash pickup was and what time it was, the location on the map, and then where that drop off was in relation to the Crumbly residence.
Now, what is the first, we know this meeting ended at 10:56. They left the parking at 10:56 a.m. on November 30th. What is the first information, the first activity on James Crumbly's DoorDash after that meeting?
Yeah, are you moving to admit this?
Yes, sir, thank you. People, that's
Any
20.
objection to the admissibility of exhibit 20?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
None, Your Honor.
You admitted, go ahead, now you can ask me about it.
Thank you. Sir, what is the first activity you see after James and Jennifer Crumbly left the meeting at Oxford High School in November 30th?
Logged in and his first DoorDash pickup at 1100 hours, 11 a.m.
So I want to make sure my times are right. The first message from Jennifer Crumbly was to Kira Pinnock at 10:58, correct, just 2 minutes after they were seen in the parking lot. And the first activity on James Crumbly's phone was 11 a.m., which is 4 minutes after the parking lot. All right.
The first activity from the DoorDash records,
DoorDash. And what does this DoorDash record tell you?
that he had, his first pickup was at 1100 and dropped it off at 1119.
So he was making DoorDash deliveries.
Yes, sir.
And does it have the last DoorDash delivery?
There are a total of 4 of them on there. The 4th one was at 12:51 PM pickup and dropped off at 1:01.
Now, I'm gonna back up just a little bit. This is, so November the 29th, I'm sorry, November the 30th at 1:34 PM. It's been November the 30th at 1:34 PM. It's been stipulated to as Exhibit 5. This is the 911 call, Judge. Sir, you've had the opportunity to review the 911 recording made by James Crumbely on November the 30th. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so everyone is aware, Judge, there are 2 recordings. However, it's the same phone call. It was just James Crumbly was put on hold for a period of time. So I'll have to cycle through the 2 different recordings. After we listen to this, I'm just going to verify with you that it is the full and complete recording. So this is Exhibit 5.
911, what's the location of the emergency? Okay, I'm not really sure. I'm at my house. There's an active shooter situation going on at the high school. My son goes to the high school. I have a missing gun at my house. I need an officer to come to my house right away, please. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to send anybody to your house right now, so they're on the active shooter situation right now. I understand that. There's a missing gun there. I have a missing gun, and my son is at the school, and we had to go meet with the counselor this morning because of something that he wrote on a test paper, and then I was in town, and I saw a whole bunch of cops going somewhere, and I made sure that I wanted to get to the high school, see someone going to the high school, and then somebody told me that there was an active shooter, and then I raced home just to find out. Okay, and I think my son took the gun. I don't know if it's him. I don't know what's going on. I'm really freaking out. My son's name is Ethan Crumbley. Crumbley. All right, sir, I'm going to put you on hold for just 1 second, okay? I have to talk to the command and see if I can do anything for you, okay? Thank you. Okay, Mr. Crumbley? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get your name and phone number, and I'm gonna have my lieutenant that's out there dealing with the situation. He's gonna contact you, okay? What's your first name? My first name is Jim. Is the last name Crumbley? Yeah. Okay. And what's that phone number for you? 248-760-6483. Okay, do you know what your son was doing when he left the house this morning? He had on a pair of sweatpants and like a gray shirt, a gray like sweatshirt. Okay. All right. All right, somebody's gonna give you a call, okay? I can't give you a time frame because of it. They're right in the middle of all of this. So I can't give you a time frame, but we're gonna give you a call as soon as it's possible, okay? Okay. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Sir, was that a full and complete recording of the 911 call made by James Crumbly on November the 30th?
Yes, sir.
Because that was Exhibit 5.
Sorry?
That was Exhibit 5, which we have.
Yes, and that's been stipulated.
Yes. Now, sir, I'm going to ask you about some things found on Ethan Crumbley's phone and some things found on Jennifer Crumbley's phone. Starting first with Jennifer, and again, this is the original phone that was seized from her on November the 30th. Okay. Starting with Jennifer Crumbley's phone, does your data extraction also include internet search results?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yes.
Equals proposed 21. So that is front and back. What have I just handed you?
It is a web history, a snippet of the web history for Jennifer's phone.
Okay, and what date specifically?
11/29/2021 at 3:05 a.m.
And that was taken from Jennifer Crumbley's phone
Correct, yes, sir.
in the data extraction?
Yes, sir.
People move to admit 21.
Any objection from Jennifer Crumbly?
No, Your Honor.
James Crumbly?
No, Your Honor.
Be admitted.
Okay, I'm publishing on the screen here, sir. We have a snippet, like you said, web history of 4. What is the search terms entered on Jennifer Crumbly's phone?
Research clinical depression treatment options.
And what time was that? The date and time?
That was at 11/29/2021 at 3:05 a.m.
And then we have that repeated here for this entire export. Why is
Correct.
that?
So what was the question?
Why is it repeated like this?
Because actually what I went and did, I clicked on each one of those, it just took me to a different page. You know, there's a page 1, page 2, page 3 of the initial search.
Okay, so what did she actually type in?
Typed in research clinical depression treatment options.
Now, going back to the 293-page text thread between Ethan Crumbley and Jennifer Crumbley, specifically pages, I'm asking now about 150 to 152. Equals 22. I believe we have a stipulation to this. May I approach?
Yes.
Do you recognize those 3 pages?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how do you recognize that?
It's a chat conversation between Ethan and Jennifer.
Okay, and what date does that start?
Starts on, the first date on here is March 6th.
People move to admit, this is exhibit 22, Judge.
Any objection on behalf of Jennifer Crumbly?
No objection, Your Honor.
Any objection on behalf of James Crumbly?
No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted.
Now, I'm going to direct you specifically to the first text message on March the 9th, 2021. So we're looking at the first page. This would be page 150 of the 293-page text string. And it's it appears to be from Ethan Crumbley, is that correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
And it's to Jennifer Crumbley?
No, yes, sir.
All right. And what's the first text here and the time?
He's saying, can you get home now? On March 9th, 2021 at 7:50 p.m.
Okay, please continue.
And follows up with, there was someone in the house, I think,
What time is that?
7:50 p.m. and 17 seconds.
Okay.
And he says, someone walked into the bathroom, flushed the toilet, and left the light on. At 7:50 and 39 seconds. Yeah.
And the next?
And I thought it was you, but when I came out, there was no one home.
Please continue.
There's no one in the house though, THO. Dude, my door just slammed.
And what does he write at March 9th, 2021 at 8:01 p.m.?
Maybe it's just my. Maybe it's just my paranoia.
And the next message?
But Ethan says, but when are you going to get home?
And is there a response at some point?
Not on that date, no.
Okay. What's the first response?
First response the next day at 10:21 a.m. Where's your dad?
It's the last text from Ethan about maybe it's just my paranoia, and then, but when are you going to get home? Those are at 8:01 p.m. March the 9th.
Correct, yes, sir.
And the first response from Jennifer Crumbly is March the 10th at 10:21 a.m. Is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
I'm going to show you pages 171 to 173, that same thread. This is exhibit 23. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
And sir, do you recognize what I've handed you?
Yes, sir.
And again, that is the same text thread. Ethan and Jennifer Crumbly.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. People move to admit 23.
Any objection to Jennifer Crumbly?
No objection.
James Crumbly?
No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted.
I'm going to publish on the screen. Let me know if you can't read it. Okay, detective? Now, starting with this blue bubble on the left, March 17, 2021, 6:03 p.m. That's from Ethan Crumbley to Jennifer Crumbley, am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, what does that say?
It says, okay, the house is not haunted.
Okay, what's next?
He then says, some weird shit just happens and now I'm scared.
Please continue.
I got some videos.
What time is that?
That was at 6:03 and 12 seconds. Yeah.
Tell me, what's this text right here saying?
On the next page, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Next, text says, and a picture of the demon.
Okay, and what time and date does he send the text and a picture of the demon?
That was at 6:03 and 12 seconds PM,
March 17th, 2021?
March 17th, yes, sir.
Okay, the next text?
The text, it is throwing bowls in all capital letters, bowls.
Also at 6:03 PM?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next text?
Next text says, I'm not joking, it fucked up the kitchen. At 6:03 PM.
Okay, the next one?
He says, I'm just going to be an outsider for a while. Be outsider for a while.
And that's 6:03 as well?
Yes, sir.
And what about on March 17th, 6:29 PM, was he right?
6:29, he says, can you at least text back?
Is there a response from Jennifer Crumbly?
Not on that date, sir.
So I want to make sure that we're all clear. These text messages here, this was found on the text message thread between Jennifer and James Crumbly. These weren't selectively exported. This is the way the text message conversation read. Am I right?
Jennifer and Ethan.
Jennifer and Ethan, thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is the way that the conversation actually read.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first response from Jennifer Crumbly to Ethan Crumbly on text message was this one right here on March 19th, 2021 at 4:11 PM when she writes, "Where is your dad?"
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if we could, let's continue. Our next text message, March 19th, 2021.
7:48, I'm sorry.
Yes,
That's
that's right.
right. At 7:48 PM, text me when you're done.
Okay,
Then at 9:02 PM, she texts done yet?
all right.
Question mark.
And the next text message on this thread from Ethan to Jennifer Crumbly occurs what time?
It occurred the next time, March 20th, 2021 at 2:33 PM.
And what does he write?
I finished picking up the room.
Okay, the next text, please.
I cleaned until the clothes started flying off the shelf.
What time did he write that?
That was on March 20th at 2:34 PM.
Okay, and the following text?
Following text, this stuff only happens when I'm home alone
What time is that?
at 2:34 PM.
All right, and then the last text on this record.
I picked the clothes back up though at 2:34 PM.
Now, because you've actually reviewed all three data extractions and all social media accounts, when you learn something along the lines of this information, such as on March 17th of 2021, Ethan Crumbley texting, took a picture of the DMAP, were you able to then go back through these defendants' cell phones to get an idea of what they're doing at dates and times?
Yes, sir.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes, sir.
Are you able, through your data extractions, to tell us what Jennifer Crumbly was doing on March the 9th, March 17th, and March the 20th?
Horseback riding.
Now, how were you able to make that determination?
You could go and look at the pictures and just narrow down your search to those specific days where the software puts everything in a timeline. So it's just a chronological order of when things are happening on that device.
And do images stored on Jennifer Crumbly's phone on that device, do they have a date and time stamp?
Yes, sir.
May I approach the witness, sir?
Yes.
This is People's Proposed 24. Sir, that's a photograph?
Yes, sir.
And do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize it?
I've seen it on Jennifer's phone.
Okay, does it have a date and time stamp at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is the date and time?
March 9th, 2021 at 4:55 PM.
If people move to minute 24,
No objection.
No objection for Mr. Crumbly.
Admitted.
okay, what we're looking at here on the screen is a photograph taken from Jennifer Crumbly's phone. And we have it taken on March the 9th, 2021, 4:55 PM, is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
May I approach again, sir?
Yes.
This is People's Proposed 25. Sir, I handed you a photograph again.
Yes, sir.
And does that photograph have a date and time stamp?
It does. March 17th, 2021 at 6:03 PM.
Okay, people move to minute 25.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection to Mr. Crumbly.
This is the photograph of James Crumbly stored on Jennifer Crumbly's phone, all right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, and the date and time is March 17th, 2021, 21 at 6:03 PM.
Yes, sir.
And what was happening at March 17, 2021 at 6:03 PM on that text message thread?
Ethan was texting his mom.
What was he texting about?
I believe on the March 17th when he was seeing, he said the house is haunted. He has videos and a picture of the demon.
May I approach? This is a photograph of post 26. Sir, you recognize that photograph?
Yes, sir.
How so?
Seeing on Jennifer's phone.
You can move to minute 26.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
None for Mr. Crumbly.
And we also have a date and timestamp on the bottom of this.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. You would characterize this as a selfie, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is March 17, 2021 at 6:03 PM.
Yes, sir.
And finally, 27, may I approach? Also the photograph, sir, you recognize that photograph?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize that?
Again, it was on Jennifer's phone.
You can move to admit 27.
No objection.
No objection from Mr. Crumbly.
Thank you. And this was taken March 20, 2021 at 12:02 PM, all right?
Correct, yes, sir.
All right, again, photographs of horses.
Yes, sir.
Now, looking at the data extraction on Jennifer Crumbly's phone, we can see no text back in relation to clothes flying off the shelves or seeing demons, things like that. But were there any other phone calls or any other messages on any other messaging apps?
No, sir.
And were there any text messages in relation to demons or things flying off the shelves or the house being haunted on James Crumbly's phone? to Ethan Crumbley?
No, sir.
Were there any phone calls from James Crumbly to Ethan Crumbley during this time span?
No, sir.
No phone calls from Jennifer Crumbly to Ethan Crumbley during this time span either.
No, sir.
I'm gonna go back to post 28. This is back to the Facebook Messenger thread between Jennifer Crumbly and James Crumbly. This is a portion of pages 440 to 443. And this is that over 2,000 page Facebook Messenger. Yes, sir. Just make sure we're on the same page. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
So you recognize what I've just handed you.
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize that?
It was a conversation with James and Jennifer.
Okay,
Facebook Messenger.
Facebook Messenger. I believe we already have stipulation that this is exhibit 28.
This is 28.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct stipulation as to admissibility?
Yes, no objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to publish it on the left. Now, this is the conversation between James and Jennifer Crumbly on the same dates that we were just referring to when Ethan Crumbly was texting Jennifer Crumbly about seeing a demon, the house is haunted. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So on the left, we have from J.C. Crumbly, you identified that as Jennifer Crumbly's account.
Correct.
On the right, we have James R. Crumbly, which we've identified as James Crumbly's account.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to go to starting with March 19, 2021, 9:37 a.m. from Jennifer to James. What did she write?
9:37, you awake.
Okay. And then the next message, please.
Ethan awake.
James's response.
James responds, yeah.
Okay. And Jennifer.
She responds with, how is he?
Okay. And what does James write?
He responds with, he woke up looking like he had way, in all caps, too much to drink last night, complaining about a headache.
Okay. Jennifer's response to that.
She responded with, well, he was really worked up and out of control, so I can see why.
Okay. The next message.
All I know is he needs to eat, go to work and work hard, not complain, and he can get his stuff back.
Okay. The next message.
Jennifer's asking, you respond, and I didn't get it, question mark.
And then these responses.
James responds with, Jesus, yes.
Okay. And what does he write to her March 19, 2021 at 10:17 a.m.?
He said, let me ask you a question. Why am I in your guy's room, LOL.
Okay, just so we're clear, the text actually says, he said, but you're not actually saying what James said, am I right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Right.
And then her response,
OMG,
what's that mean for the record?
general, oh my God.
What does James write to Jennifer on March 19th at 10:17 a.m.?
I totally thought you were giving him a Xanax last night.
Her response?
Does he seem better?
And
No
then,
melatonin.
what does James say?
I know,
Please continue the conversation.
but Jennifer then says, but he hasn't had one before, should only give him half. James responds with, he is just doing his school, says his head hurts, he took so Tylenol. Jennifer responds with, is he okay to work? Question mark. Jane says, yeah. Jennifer says, does he remember what he did? James says, dude, I am working on a demo right now. I have not talked to him and he is doing school.
Okay. And those were Facebook conversations between James and Jennifer Crumbely, am I right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, back to Exhibit 10. That is the text thread between, the end of the text thread between Ethan Crumbly and Jennifer Crumbly. I'm gonna pull that up again for you, it's already been a minute. I just want you to tell us, please, what is the last thing that Jennifer Crumbly writes to Ethan Crumbly on this text thread?
Can't see that screen that far. At what time?
The very last text message.
The very last text message was Ethan, don't do it.
That was the last text message from Jennifer Crumbly to Ethan Crumbly. That was November the 30th, 2021, 1:22 p.m. Is that right?
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, sir, we were talking about Jennifer Crumbly's phone. I want to talk to you a little bit about what's found on Ethan Crumbly's phone. Now, did you uncover a text message thread between Ethan Crumbly and another individual? We're not going to name, but we know that person is a juvenile. Did you uncover a text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and that person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how long was that text thread?
There's about 25,000 chats, text back and forth.
I'm comparing that text message thread on Ethan Crumbley's phone to all other message threads. Is there anything that's remotely close in size or
I'm sorry, more close to what?
anything remotely close in size to the level of text messages between Ethan Crumbley and that juvenile?
No, the next closest was just over 100.
Okay, so is it fair to say, based upon your data extraction of Ethan Crumbley's phone, that is the person he communicated with the most?
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, I want to specifically point you to the dates of April 5th, 2021 on that text message thread. This is exhibit 29. May I approach?
Yes.
Judge, so you're aware, we had a discussion, council and I had a discussion earlier today about certain portions being redacted or not redacted. We have complied with council's request and provided unredacted portions.
To them.
Is that correct?
I'm sorry.
We have these unredacted portions after a conversation this morning.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Which are separate from what you've given to the court. and which
Yes,
are-
so may I approach?
Yes.
So this will be the new exhibit 29. So this is been identified as being 29. With those modifications, I don't believe we have an objection to the admissibility of exhibit 29. But let me ask you, Detective. This was a portion of the text message thread between Ethan Crumbley and that juvenile.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, and on the top of page 29, what's the date and time?
April 5th, 2021 at 12:38 a.m.
Okay, and we already know this is from Ethan Crumbley's device from his phone, right?
Correct, yes, sir.
So on the right, it's going to be green, it's going to say owner.
Correct.
That would be Ethan Crumbley.
Yes, sir.
It's going to say two, it's going to be the person who's texting to.
Correct, yes,
Is that
sir.
right? Okay. People move to omit 29.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection from Mr. Crumbly.
Can I have both counsel approach from a minute?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
I believe that was admitted, Judge.
Yes.
Is it 49? Okay, so the green is on Ethan Crumbley's phone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the date and time of this first text message?
April 5th, 2021 at 12:38 a.m.
Sorry. Maybe we approach we're going to schedule.
Go ahead, approach.
Yes. Thank you, Judge. I appreciate that. Okay, again, referring to exhibit 29, the green being Ethan Crumbley's phone. What's the first message with the date and time?
Date time is April 5th, 2021 at 12:38 a.m. Says, I'm going to ask my parents to go to the doctor tomorrow or Tuesday again.
The next text?
Next one is the same date, just a few seconds later at 12:38, 15 seconds a.m. But this time I'm going to tell them about the voices.
One moment, Your Honor. Okay, the third text message here.
Third message is, I only told them about the people I saw.
Okay, what time was that son?
That was at 12:38 a.m., 25 seconds.
And the response in the blue bubble?
Response was, okay.
Now I want to talk to you about this one right here on page 3, April 5th, 2021 at 12:39 a.m. What is that text message from Ethan Crumbley?
From Ethan says, like I am mentally and physically dying.
And that is on April the 5th of 2021, am I correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, on this large substantial text thread between Ethan Crumbley and that other individual, there were videos and attachments as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you had the opportunity to review not only the text messages, but those images?
Yes, sir.
And was there a video sent on August the 19th, 2021 from Ethan Crumbley to this person?
Yes, sir.
And you get the opportunity to view that from the data extraction on Ethan Crumbley's phone.
Correct, yes, sir.
We'll move to minute 30.
Any objection?
Your Honor, to be honest, I don't know what video is the 819 video. Are you gonna play it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, which,
Do you want
is there
to
an
look on
objection?
my screen here and I can unhook it?
Sure.
You also
Wait a
you
minute,
also
are you
have a
gonna-
flash drive.
Are you gonna show it to her now?
Yes,
Before you move to admit, I'm gonna take a quick break.
thank you, Judge.